You're tuned in to Around the Lens, the internet's only live streaming roundtable discussion podcast, featuring Zach Roberts, Ron Hamilton, Travis Keys, and your host, David J. Murphy. Hello and welcome to Around the Lens, episode 160. I'm your host, David J. Murphy. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Travis Keys. Hello, Travis. How are you doing tonight?
Fantastic. How you doing? You're looking good. Why are you looking so good this evening?
You know what? I got a haircut. I shaved.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, the camera.
Hey,
that's right. I've got the GH4 hooked up.
Looking sharp.
Thank you, buddy. That's just like you. You know, I had to. You raised the bar, so I had to go above the bar. I took it to a H&L, whole another level.
I knew you had it in you. Wait till
thanks,
I
buddy.
come down next week.
He's gonna have some new Sony experimental camera we don't even know about that shoots in pitch black and. Oh my goodness! So excited. Anything new with you? Any crazy 24-hour assignments?
Nothing like 24 hours. I did a wonderful thing with Robin Hood, which is a great charity in New York that now addresses poverty and probably one of the largest charities raising money for people. And we did brought a bunch of children to the Knicks game and brought them out on the floor of the. It was just a fabulous, fabulous day and a lot of fun. And then I went to my first beefsteak at CIA, the Culinary Institute of America, which was pretty awesome. I don't know if you know what a beefsteak is, but it's these old dinners that used to be actually political to get influence and stuff like that. But it's this gigantic just beef dinner with beer and all kinds of every course is meat.
Nice.
So it was a lot of fun.
Cool. I'll have to go check that out next time I'm in the city. Well, we got a great show for you all tonight. A lot of stuff to talk about. But for that, let's go introduce our panelists this evening. We'll start with our returning panelist, Bruce Byers. Hello, Bruce. How are you doing?
Going home.
Not too bad. Just trying to stay warm. It's now we're 50 degrees in New York, so that's not bad.
A balmy 50 degrees.
Yeah, but it's probably 80 degrees in Cuba, where I've been trying to get back to.
Indeed.
But
give everybody the quick elevator pitch on who you are and what you do.
I've been in New York since '75, shooting commercially, advertising and fashion, and got into cruise ships and aircraft carriers in the '90s. Got more into travel photography, and now I'm doing Camera Odysseys, which is photographic workshops around the world. And Cuba is one of the big ones, and Bhutan and Nepal this summer, and Heritage Tours is putting together a group to go to Cape Town and do some safari. So doing a lot of good stuff.
Nice, buddy. Isn't the Cuba trip coming up real soon?
There's one on the 16th.
16th, yeah.
Yeah, one on the 16th of February and one on the 16th of March. So have some beautiful women down there that we photograph all the time.
Nice.
And so it's a great place to go, and I just made arrangements with a travel agent to help me out with some really good stuff, because good old Donald is causing havoc down there, making a lot of entrepreneurs down there starve again, because the tourism isn't as big as it used to be. So
yeah,
very good, very safe, and come with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious, we're only 12 days out from that trip. Do you get nervous? Are you calling up all the people who signed up and making sure they're ready to go? What's sort of some of the last minute preparation you're doing before the trip?
Well, a lot of people want to know, what cameras to take, and can I do this? Can I do that? Can I get over the fear that unfortunately our government has thrown into the mix, and I've got to ensure that. And then I'm always on. We can now do WhatsApp, so I can get into talk to my guys down there, and I've been training them to think like an American tourist, which is very important, so that when we hit the ground, at least it's not a big shock the moment we get there, right. And so everything's very well put together. And we're trying to. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, what's the demographic makeup of the folks going on your February 16th trip? Is it young, old, mix, men, women?
The last, I did one trip last February, and it was 10 school teachers teaching art.
Wow.
And one and one photographer who was a printmaker, and we actually went down there and did printmaking with the artist in Cuba and took pictures. So they were able to bring their art to Cuba and do it down there. This last trip in December was from 40 years old to about 75. Okay. And I tell you, the 75-year-olds run you ragged.
Yeah.
But the 40-year-old, she did a great story on her. She didn't know what an f-stop was. She had her camera on 2.8 at 125, and that's what she shot all the time. She had no idea what she was doing. By the end of the trip, through a couple tears and, beating her up a little bit on, what you got to do and what you don't have to do, she went home, and 2 weeks after she got home, she emailed us all saying that she got a 3-year contract with an insurance company to photograph the fires out in Northern California, all the damage that was out there. So here's somebody didn't know what a shutter speed was, and through the trip had the encouragement to go land this 3-year contract. Hard camera, and it was perfect for her for what she needed to do. So a lot of things, wonderful things happen.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I was just curious because I just watched that documentary on Netflix about the Fire Festival. Have anybody seen that? The Fire Fraud or whatever it was called. You saw that?
Oh, Fire! Yeah, the island with the guy that tried to put on that fake concert with all the models and the artists. I hear it's fabulous.
Yeah, it's a pretty. I mean, I only saw the Netflix one. I didn't see the Hulu one, but the Netflix one was pretty good. Yeah. And I thought, again, you think about like trips and experiences, and millennials, they love their experiences more so than their things and stuff. So I figured maybe you get the millennial group coming to Cuba and stuff for the experience.
They get a little thrown by not having constant internet. You got to slow them down a little bit and create media for them.
That's right.
Except the Casa now that we stay at all the time, which got 363-degree view from the 9th floor, which is fantastic, has internet connection.
Oh,
don't tell anybody.
Oh.
But
I see that happening a lot more of these Casas.
Well, that's good to know.
The trouble with the millennials is they think that they can go on the internet and figure out to do it themselves. And it's cheap. Well, there is no tourism structure down there. There is no, transportation. You have to know somebody. Otherwise, after the first day, you're walking around blind. Even the experienced travelers. So what I try to do is the moment they hit the ground, everything is you just step right into the culture of Cuba, and it's wonderful. And if you do that, the Cuban people engage with you, and that's wonderful. And you don't feel like all of a sudden you're in some quote third world country, because Cuba's not a third world country. They just don't have things with that stuff that we're used to.
Yeah.
So I mean, even this beautiful woman who's one of our dancers. We're down there. We bring her bobby pins because she can't get bobby pins.
Right.
So and she just it's great. But we're also going into Nepal and Bhutan this summer, which is
that's exciting.
Just an amazing place to go.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, hopefully we'll have you back on. We'll talk about those experiences as well. Our other guest this evening is Mr. Tom Brenner. Tom, tell the audience about yourself.
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for having me on the show. I'm a freelance photographer based in DC. I'm a recent RIT graduate, graduated in 2016.
Oh, awesome.
And I was out of Rochester in New Jersey for a little bit, worked in Jersey Devils, came back, didn't really know what I wanted to do. Went to a couple of networking events and talked about covering politics to some folks, and they said, come on down, come see what it's all about, come shadow us. And a little bit later on from there, I took an internship at the New York Times and
starting small,
ended up staying put. A couple internships before that, but yeah, it was a lot of luck and a lot of patience, and just
it's always good to start with a magazine that no one's ever heard of, or a paper that no one's ever heard of.
The little known paper of record.
A mom and pop place to get your feet wet, right?
Yeah.
Right, of course. I did, start interning in college a lot. right after my freshman or sophomore year. I think I started in Albany at the Times Union. And then later on, I went to Baltimore at the Sun, and then after that, I was at M Live in Michigan, freelance a little bit towards the end of college, and worked for the New Jersey Devils too.
That
So
was fun.
tried to. Oh, it was a blast. I miss it every day. Never thought I'd get into politics, and ended up in DC, and just really loved it. And it's a crazy time right now to be here doing all this. And I don't know what the future holds because it used to be pretty quiet. This was a pretty quiet beat, but right now it's been great. It's been crazy. I've been getting work every day and give or take every day.
Yeah.
And couldn't see myself doing anything else differently right now.
That's awesome.
You definitely came in during an interesting presidency, so a lot of stuff going on in politics.
Absolutely.
It's never a dull moment.
Did you take that journalism course at RIT? Who's the teacher
I did.
there?
So it's a great program. It's actually a BFA, but it's all taught by News and Wire, previous people that worked at News and Wires. That's the chairman of the program. He was at the Dallas Morning News for a while. Racked up a few Pulitzers.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. He's got Jen Poggi on his side, and trying to think who else. Josh Meltzer, great teacher from Western Kentucky. Just awesome program. It's really changed in the last 5 years. They're really proud of it, and I think they did a great job.
Well, let me ask you this, Tom. You're a staffer with New York Times, or what's your status?
No,
with New York Times?
I'm a freelancer.
Freelancer, okay, but you're like a full-time freelancer with them, or how's that work?
No, I came out of school, came out of the internship rather, and as soon as that was done, I just started freelancing and had done them covering White House, and that was kind of a comfortable spot for me. So they've been giving me a lot of work that way, but I work for other people as well.
Okay. But would you say that the majority of your news work, at least covering the DC, the Beltway, is coming from the New York Times, or is that something whoever the highest bidder is, so to speak, or whoever wants you to do that particular assignment?
Yeah, it's usually the New York Times mostly. It's whoever calls me the most, or calls me the most. Sorry, I was going to say. I call them the most first. Is what I meant to say. I've got a great relationship with them, so.
So you pitch them ideas more than they pitch you ideas.
Sometimes, you know what, DC right now is a lot of day-to-day work, so it gets crazy in terms of like, you can kind of understand certain things are going to go on that week, and say like, Roger Stone's getting to district court today, and it's going to be a madhouse, and so Sunday night I'll know that he'll be there on Wednesday, and I'll say, hey, do you guys need me here? And usually they'll say yeah, or we need you somewhere else, or so. I usually try to get up early and just kind of put myself out there and say, hey, I'm around. So
yeah, with so much happening, it's not a lot of hunting for ideas. They're just popping up right and left right now.
No, and sometimes the day-to-day grind gets a little crazy, and you just want to get out and do something different. And I think we had a good chance of doing that with a lot of the furloughed workers that were mandated to go back to work. A lot of people around here who are making mid-level pay were starting to come up on missing rent. So there's a lot of potential eviction notices. I was following a woman around, that was dealing with that, and so it was just really tough to see a lot of people around here go up against that.
They should have just taken out loans. I don't know why they need to just take out loans.
Exactly.
That was
one of their boats.
We're close, definitely close for sure. But yeah, it was. It's a lot of daily work here, and a lot of getting up early and reading the notes of AP data distribution list for everybody on what every department is doing, and these days a lot of that's newsworthy.
Nice. Well, it looks like we've got a addition to our team, Mr. Ron Hamilton. Hello, Ron.
Aloha, guys. Sorry for the delay.
No
Happy to
problem.
be joining
Hey,
you.
how's it going?
Better late
Happy
than
to
never.
jump in.
That's right. How's everything in Hawaii?
Sunny and warm still.
Okay. You didn't have to deal with the polar vortex down there?
We did, sir. It got down to 62 one night. It was very cold.
Ugh.
Yeah, we
Oh,
were not happy
Lord.
about that.
They
Probably had to put
declare a
long
state of
sleeves.
national emergency or what?
Yeah, we weren't happy. We bundled up, but we made it through it. Yeah.
Closed down schools. Everybody just hunkered down, bought bottles of water, cleared the shelves, right?
That's what we do here. Yeah.
Slight Chillmageddon. Chillmageddon. That's what they should call it down there. All right, Ron, we're glad to have you back on the show.
Very good, sir.
Missed you last week, buddy. So I'm always glad.
Yeah,
to
I
have
know.
you.
I try my best.
There you go. Do better. Don't just do your best. Do better.
That's true.
All right, Tom. Well, so you do freelance full time then?
I do, yeah. That's
Okay.
that's what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. Well, you're doing it and doing it well, making things work
Thank you.
in the DC area. So obviously it can be done.
Trying. I don't know about that. We're trying to stay afloat here. It gets crazy.
You're doing well enough to be featured on CNN's top 2018 top pictures of the year. I'm going to pull up the picture here for our viewing audience and let Tom talk about the photograph as soon as I pull it up here. I'm sorry I can't show it to all of you, but imagine. Let's see here. Can I? Oh no, wait. Can I? No. Okay. Let's try this.
Tom, how long is it until you can use the photographs you take? You do it, you supply it to somebody. Is that it? Can you not sell it or use it for other news outlets?
So what was the first part of that question again?
How long do you have to wait before you can farm your work out to other people?
So I've got two options. So there's I believe there's a 30-day embargo on the pictures upon publishing point. I do also have a resale option. New York Times syndicates their pictures out through Redux. So, occasionally you'll get some small chunks of change back, which is kind of nice. It's available for distribution. It's pretty great. Not all places can do that. I haven't really sold off pictures after the fact. I've kind of kept them as I own my rights to the pictures for the New York Times. But that's kind of the nature of it now.
Cool. Let's talk about this photograph that is basically features Donald Trump, President Trump, in front of a group of folks who were released from North Korean, prison. And there's also in this photograph, let me make sure I got his name right, the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. So we got Kim Dong-chul, Kim Hak-song, and Kim Sang-duk, also known as Tony Kim. They were freed while Pompeo was visiting North Korea to discuss Trump's upcoming North Korean summit. So let's talk about this photograph. Give me some of the background here. What kind of led you up to this shot?
So, waiting in line for 6 hours probably, up until getting cleared to go into the airbase where this occurred. A lot of waiting for this picture at its true origin. We had word of this, I think, 24 hours earlier that Trump had tweeted that the hostages were being released from North Korea. Didn't really have a time set. It was roughly in the middle of the night. We weren't really sure. So what they would do is they were going to fly a plane with the hostages back to Andrews Air Force Base, or Joint Base Andrews now, which is out in Maryland, in Morningside Heights, Maryland, not too far from D.C. And everybody wants to be in on this. And what they would do is you can inquire, call in, or sign up. Eventually, you'd have to go to the base, and you'd have to be security checked. And there were so many people that had numerous buses, and you had to get all your in order, and you didn't know how long you'd be there. So eventually, all night, I think we were expecting to be home at about midnight. It turned into about a 3 a.m. arrival. We were bussed onto the base and onto two big flatbed truck trailer beds. Were elevated, and we would wait in the night to see if the planes would come in and when the hostages would arrive. And so we would get rough estimates, and we were never sure. I had on me, I think, 7200, an extender, maybe something wide, maybe 24 to 70, not much to it, and
Did
maybe
you have
a
a
400.
1.4 or 2 extender?
1.4 extender.
Okay. The
So-
right answer.
So not much to it. We didn't really know. We had some big industrial floodlights off our sides. We didn't know exactly where the plane would park in the distance to us. So I didn't really know what the throw was going to be, and it was getting pretty dark as the light would fall off. So, we kind of, in politics, we try to, where you set your, we have little turtle stools, and where you set that is where you mark your space, and that's going to be a limited spot, and it's really hard to, find another spot after everyone comes in. So I kind of tried to plan. I talked to some guys who were shooting for the military and see if they knew anything, or if anybody else had any idea where everybody would be essentially in the formation that they would go in the whole process. And I guessed it right. I actually put my stool on the steps off the trailer bed, and just got my timing right. And as they came across, a lot of people had the pictures of everybody at the top of the stairs off the plane that had when they first came out, and everybody had their arms in the air and big smiles and a big American flag behind Air Force One. And I had shot that all where they were halfway across the tarmac, and got that moment where you just saw everybody's face. Everybody was, really happy, and it just looked like a good day for America.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, this was featured on CNN's top photos of 2018. Well, before we get to that, what was the life of this photograph after it was shot? Did it show up on front pages of newspapers, or was it just featured on websites? Was there was the life of this photograph before it was featured on CNN's top 2018?
So I think I guess so at the next days, it was the same as Gina Haspel's swearing. She's the new CIA chief, and I think that collided with that news cycle, because when the North Koreans, when the hostages came in so early into the morning, it kind of thwarted what they wanted to run on the cover.
Right.
So they had come back, and I think that was the cover the next day or the day after. It was that next morning. And after that, I think, thank you to our syndicate services, I think it went to cover in Atlanta, Cleveland, a few other places as well, a few other covers around, but it had some decent play to it for sure, as well as everybody else's. It was just worldwide news. Everybody had a piece of the action there.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a great shot. I love the interplay between hands and faces, and again, the composition of where everyone is placed in this, and just tied in with obviously the obvious moment of joy and happiness. Did you have to crop in a lot on this shot, or was it pretty much as you shot it?
I did crop a lot. I think with the extender, I was shooting at 4.5, maybe 5 f5. I can't recall, but I think I cropped it. I submitted it a little wider. I did a couple versions. I did do the square. Mm-hmm. I know some people are a little iffy on shooting squares, and that's the one they took. I think I had a piece of the plane wing was sort of in the back. So I tried to clean it up a little bit, and it just worked in my favor. But it was I probably shaved off at least 25% of the frame there, at least.
Right.
If not more. But I did, I think, to work with the darkness, I think I rested the railing of the trailer bed, trying to keep it as stable as I could at, 1/160th or however low I got.
Wow, shooting 500 millimeter at 1/160th. That's brave.
No, 70 to 200.
Well, with the extender.
Oh yeah, true.
What are they being lit by?
For the biscuit, right?
What are they? What's the light source here? Since this shot was shot at night, what's the light source that's on them? Just floodlights?
These were big industrial floodlights, yeah, like big battery powered one, or gas powered ones rather. A couple generators off to the sides. I think we had one on each end of the tarmac, or yeah.
What was the energy like in the room? Was it pretty like enthusiastic or euphoric, or was it just, again, were you swept up by that or taken in by that, if that was the case, or was it just another shoot for you?
It was really special, and honestly, I was so dead tired from covering the CIA director hearing that morning, because a lot of us had been on Capitol Hill starting at 6 a.m.
Oh boy,
or even earlier, trying to set up spots. So we didn't know if the hostages would come back like the next morning, like 7 a.m. or if we could get any sleep. And I didn't sleep at all, so we did that whole day. Then they're like, "Can you go up to Andrews to get this arrival?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." I think the atmosphere, we were all dead tired, but as soon as they got off the plane, Trump and Pompeo and all the hostages and Pence, I think, came up like right up to the media firing line, if you will, and we all, took questions, or asked questions rather, to the president, and it was very, very informal and just very, almost very down to earth. It just felt good to have everybody home, and it was just a nice, nice time, and a nice way to end the night, and we're all glad everybody made it home safe.
Great. And of course, you shot this with Canon.
Do you ever find that they put you in areas according to the importance or non-importance of the shoot? They kind of keep you. They know that you have to use longer lenses on something that might not be really good, and let you get in close on the good stuff. Do you ever find that where they stick the firing line?
Sorry, I lost you there for a second. So wherever they stick the firing line, depending on am I gonna get burned because I didn't bring appropriate equipment?
No, because of the importance of the event. Does they press further away on bad stuff and closer on the good stuff?
What do you consider by bad stuff?
Well, this was a great thing. They're all coming off the plane with the hostages and everything else. You would think that they would bring you right up to the press so you could get all the pictures.
Oh,
but
yeah.
if something went wrong with it, they kind of keep. Do they ever find that they keep you away so you can't get good coverage?
No. I mean, I think it's kind of it's situationally different depending on a situation. So for this one, it was right off the official out of bounds line on the tarmac. So we were right on the edge of the tarmac, almost by the flight terminal, which is usually where we would always be if an event occurred there for, say, this event or for the Bush 41 funeral. That's always kind of standard procedure. It's usually you're conflicting between the military's decisions and the White House's decisions and sort of how they want this sort of to look. No, it doesn't always line up accordingly, so you kind of always have to over-prepare to, in case it does, you do get burned. So yeah, I would have, I would carry a 400 f4 all the time. It's light, it's easy. You could put it anywhere, and it could save you in a time when you might be just too far away.
How was it when you were a young gun, kind of going out there with senior photographers? Did you find a nice pecking order, or was people very receptive? What was it like for you entering on? You're doing some pretty big political things and stuff like that. To run into the people that have been doing it for years. How's been that for you?
It's I thought when I came in here it was going to be like, yeah, get in the back of the line, kid. Like, you kind of, I knew you had to, pay your dues and sort of step in, but like everybody's had something really unique to offer here, I think, and it's not what I perceived it to be when I was first coming in, and there's a lot of people here who have done things that I have never done maybe never ever will do. So I have a lot of respect for that. People have gone overseas and covered conflict elsewhere, and this is somewhat simple stuff, and you don't have to cry over spilt milk when it doesn't go your way. But they're there for you, and you don't get pushed out if it doesn't work out. Sometimes somebody like, hey, you need something, come here. I'll help you out, and you give that right back to them when you can, and it's been clicking ever since on that.
Do you find it's more who you're working for than who you are? Because I know a lot of times certain magazines get they get taped off on press situations, and they have their spots, and and freelancers get pushed to the side or the back, and live by their turtle.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean I've been told one of the best things that everyone has ever told me is just to be as friendly as possible with everybody on staff. People that will essentially run your life in the work world, and even if they don't do a lot in what you perceive to be a lot, if they're if they're working janitor staff on a campaign tour, they could be a congressman one day down the line, and you wish you didn't blow that relationship because you didn't give them the time of day. So you be the best you can to everybody, and they're going to help you as much as they can if they know you're a good person and you're not around too much. And so that does work in your favor. Kill them with kindness.
My dad used to give me that advice too. It's like, if you're going to meet the CEO, make sure you're nicer to the secretary.
Yeah. Oh, hands down, it's the best advice, because you never know who's going to get a promotion really quickly. It's
just take care of you. Put the
yeah. It's
it's like with any
right.
any sort of large corporation, the secretaries are the ones who run the entire show. They run they run the boss's schedule. They can get you in there and get you a meeting or whatever, or So yeah, that's good advice.
Gatekeepers.
What's that?
Gatekeepers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
keys to the kingdom.
The people that hold the credentials.
Yeah.
It's whether I'm going to eat today or not. So I take great respect to that power, and you got to play by the rules, and things work out.
Definitely. All right, well let's talk a little bit about camera gear. Of course, you shoot Canon, which I don't hold against you. No, I love Canon. A huge Canon user for many years, and then I of course saw the Micro Four Third Light. But of course, a new camera just not announced. This camera was announced back in 2018 at Photokina, but finally people actually got their hands on it. Of course, I'm talking about the Panasonic S1 and S1R. These are the full-frame mirrorless cameras coming out from Panasonic, and they will be released in April of this year. But of course, a select few, not me. Come on, Canon. Come on, Panasonic. I've been hyping up the GH5 on literally every episode of this show. And I don't get a trip to Barcelona, and I don't get a pre-production unit S1R or S1 to play with. Come on. Anyways, I guess I got to work on my social media presence, Travis. And then maybe I'll once I become an camera. What's that?
And once you look pretty on camera, they'll take you seriously.
Yeah. Once I become a social media influencer like you.
And stop using the word Canon instead of saying Panasonic.
Exactly.
I say Panasonic because I love Canon and Panasonic. I wish they would just join and merge and make one beautiful camera. Anyways, Panasonic announced the S1 and S1R. I'll go through their specs here quickly, and then we can talk about how great they are and why they're so much better than Sony.
It's just not true.
I know. Anyways, first off, the big thing is that they are featuring the L mount lens, the NL lens mount. So it's a neat alliance between Leica, Panasonic, and Sigma. So hopefully they'll all be releasing nifty lenses for the camera. Because right now the sort of lenses they come out with aren't really the best, unfortunately, at least at launch. It's got a 5.76 million dot real viewfinder. It's above a 2.1 million dot 3.2 inch triaxial tilting display. This is one of my biggest contentions and issues with this camera, as well as many cameras in this field. Why can't they just put a triaxis lens, a triaxis viewfinder that flips forward? I swear. Why is that so hard for camera manufacturers? Let's see here. They both have 9 frames per second shooting, AI tracking of moving subjects, 5-axis 5-axis in-body image stabilization, something Canon does not have. A 225 area depth focus, defocus, autofocus system. Contrast focus, not the phase detect like the Sony's, which is, sad. They're rated for 400,000 cycles. They can do 6K photo mode. They have dual camera slots, dual memory card slots. So if you got your XQD and your SD, you can have your backups and everything. Let's see here. The S1R is the 47.3 megapixel version with a max ISO of 51,200. Both can shoot 4K 60 in a cropped mode. They have this like super high resolution version where where they're like stacking pictures, but it's a feature I'll never use, so I don't really care about it. And then of course the S1, which is the 24.2 megapixel CMOS sensor with an ISO of 51,200, expandable up to 204,800, so you can get that nice low light video capture. And then of course you have to buy the additional video features if you want the 4.422 10-bit 4K 30 internal. Yeah. I shoot 8-bit. I don't really care. I'm not really that worried about it. Of course, the big number is price. How much is it going to cost you if you want to get into these cameras? Surprisingly enough, the S1 comes in at $2,500, so more expensive than many of their competitors. And then the S1R comes in at $3,700 or $4,600 if you want with the f4 24 to 105 lens. I don't know why anyone would want an f4 lens. I mean, come on. You're getting the big sensor. You want that bokeh. Anyways, I'll give my thoughts on these cameras, what I think about them after I throw it to you all. What do you think of the Panasonic S1, S1R? Anybody interested in switching on over to Panasonic? Abandoning their...
I think you should report back, Dave. You're the Panasonic guy.
Well, I don't have the camera.
I'll give it a shot.
You give it a shot? All right.
I think so.
Over the EOS R?
It's if it's good and low light, it's quiet. It's worth a shot. In my niche, politics, I think it's Sony started with the iFocus, but if you could do it better than that, I'm definitely gonna take a look at it, especially if it's lighter.
Well, I mean, as a Canon user, have you thought about the Canon mirrorless?
I have. It's only one shot on focus in servo.
Something
like it's
that.
On one shot. Sony's are doing me at dead silent mode. It's not bad.
Yeah,
something to consider. Yeah. I think there's a better market there than I think most think, and there's a lot of demand for that in the political scene. Quiet, fast, and good and low light.
Travis, as the Sony fanboy, why doesn't this? What is this camera missing? What is it? What is this camera? What was Panasonic lacking here?
I'm always a fan of camera companies pushing the envelope and keeping other companies honest and innovative. Yeah. I think the main problem now is everybody's starting to try to do this catch-up thing with Canon finally putting something out and Nikon putting something out and Panasonic going to full frame and stuff like that. But what everyone's saying, when they finally get to the second generation, third generation, it's going to be that watch out Sony. But Sony's already on their third, fourth generation, and they keep upping their game, and they constantly up their game. There is not a system that rivals Sony on the eye autofocus and soon to be released the animal autofocus and object tracking that is going to come out with the new firmware upgrade for the A9s and the A7 III is insane. I mean, it's just I shot on Fashion Week, and a couple of years ago, you would only see a Canon, you would only see a Nikon on the runway and people shooting. And the last year, almost everybody had a Canon, but they also had a Sony, and everybody's starting to shoot Sonys now. Not only because in situations where you have audio and stuff like that behind the scenes or working on a set of a film, you can go dead silent and you literally cannot hear these things. So right now, I think it's I want all these camera companies to I own a full Fuji system, I own a full Canon system, but I always go back to my Sony right now, and it's the best all-around camera that I have found, and I just haven't found anything that rivals it yet.
Is there anything that you see in the Panasonic that you're like, man, I really hope Sony adopts that?
No, I mean I'm with you. The one thing that always irks me the most is not having the fully articulating screen, and it drives me absolutely crazy. It's just there's especially and they're starting to play with it with the A6400, but even that's not a full articulating screen. They've had it on their their full size DSLRs, but they haven't moved it to the mirrorless, which I don't know why, because nowadays between bloggers, vloggers, and everybody else that wants to take a shot of themselves and our video and see themselves, it's a no-brainer. And as you get older, you really don't want to what I love about the Sony is opposed to the Canon. The 5D Mark IV has got the best touchscreen, but when you want to shoot something on the ground, you have to lay down on the ground to see what you're shooting. With the Sony, I just pop out the screen and I don't have to break my back, and I can get down lower, get up high above people, and see exactly what I'm shooting. Those little things make such a difference on your back, on the way you're going to shoot, the way you can frame things. It's just, I mean, for a professional shooter, these are no-brainers. They got to do it.
What about 4K 60? I mean, that's the only thing here. That's one of the big things they plant their flag on. They're one of the only ones who can do it. Yeah, it's crop sensor 4K, but it's still 4K 60.
Yeah, it's. As people go, you have to move into the 4K 60s, and especially the way people are filming nowadays, it's a necessity. Even the 4K, 4K 120s and stuff like that, they're gonna have to up their game because people are starting to shoot it, and it gives you that extra oomph in post production that you can really do some great stuff with it.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed but I knew it was going to be a crop sensor 4K 60. I couldn't. Yeah. When you compare like what you need to do 4K 60 full frame right now, there's cameras on the market that cost like $50,000. So to expect them to be able to pull that out with this, I did not expect that. Yeah. But and one of the things I look at, here is, considering if I want to switch from the GH5 to this, is that 4K 60. It does have that capability. But it is crop sensor, and when I kind of compare it to what I can do with the Micro Four Thirds camera, it's the same basic thing.
And the basic honest, I mean, the thing is, granted they're out, but when you look at Sony and how much lenses they have now, how much they've developed, and the A7 III is a beast of a camera, and you can get it for a little over $2,000. It's with the eye autofocus and with the low light, it's just a superior system. So why go into something that's new, that's not proven yet, where there is something proven and that has everything to back it up, from accessories to lenses to if you're going to adopt a new system, you're adopting a new system, and you're going to get frustrated because everything's not there for you yet.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're like ready to jump on this right now and go with what they have, I'd probably wait. Although I do say, I'll give them credit for actually releasing a variety of lenses at launch that allow you to do the full set of basic work. 24 to 105 and a 7200 or so. None of the other manufacturers released almost as close to the Holy Triad as you could get. But them, even though they're f4 lenses, I'll give them credit for making at least the lens selection, which is something I derided both Canon and Nikon for coming out the gate with like a very limited lens selection. But of course, they also came out with adapters, and they knew they were going to lean on their adapters for their early adopters. But Bruce, what do you think about this camera? Is this something you want to take down to Cuba? If you were a Lumix ambassador, would you? And they said, "Hey, you want to take our Lumix down to Cuba with you? Would you take it? Would you give it a shot?"
Because you can say no if you were.
Well, I'd have to really look into it, because I'm a Canon shooter with the Mark III and the 1DX, and but I also just took down the the Hasselblad X1D. It's an incredible video. It's not very easy to shoot with, but the video is beautiful in it. But the camera is medium format, and that camera sang over the Canon, sang over the Sony. It shot like a Hasselblad, but then you got Hasselblad quality at medium format. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out if I go to the Sony or if I go to the. I was talking to Travis the other day about it, to go to the Canon Mark IV, I guess it was, but then they might be coming out with a Mark V, so because of that touch screen, whichever the touch screen for the focus is, because I was shooting a video down there of a music thing, and with my Mark III, I have to refocus, and you see the stuff going on, in the camera. But if I had the touchscreen, it would have just smoothly worked. But being able to work that screen without it, and not having to get on the ground, the Sony or the Panasonic is great for that. So I'm I'm tossed right now. I'm not sure. But I also shoot with the M6, so really don't need all this other crap.
Well, doesn't Fuji have the medium format cameras?
How's your back?
No, it's not too great, but
yeah, Fuji's in that medium market. I think that's the kind of the next big phase. Hopefully, I think you're seeing between Fuji and Hasselblad and and Phase these great kind of portable sensors that are going to be amazing. That where you have these medium format that you can take and they're really developing them. I think that's exciting. I think that's going to open up. There's not that much has changed. Granted, you get 4/3, which is nice and small. You get to a Sony, a Nikon that's full frame. But medium is actually you see the difference, and it changes the way you look at things and the way you photograph, and it's a very different type of thing. So I think that's exciting. Because before what a Phase, if you were going to buy a Phase, it was $40,000. Now that you can get one, so yeah, it was ridiculous with the pricing, and it just wasn't accessible to the average person. Where now you can get into a medium format for under $10,000 with a lens, and that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that Hasselblad is actually lighter than our 1DXs with the 2070 on it. So, but it. Again, if you're standing there chasing a politician down the street, the last thing I'd want in my hand is the Hasselblad.
No.
Unless it's like,
a little bit of weight, goes a long way.
Yeah.
Can you stand still for a portrait? All right, let me get my powder and stick it into the thing so I can.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold off for large.
Up on the bulbs.
I'm gonna hold off for. I'm gonna skip. Medium format mirrorless. I'm going straight to large format mirrorless. So as soon as that's available,
one day, right? Yeah.
As soon as I get the Panasonic large format mirrorless, that's what I want. But again,
First kid on the block.
Yeah, I'm excited about the camera. I'm excited about camera innovation in general. I think all the manufacturers push the envelope and challenge all the other ones. We wouldn't have the current full frame mirrorless revolution if it weren't for Sony pushing the envelope in that market and taking over that, the media, taking over that market and proving what they can do with it. So I'm excited to see, again, what Panasonic does with this. I'll wait for the full reviews. I'll wait for the full lens lineups to come out. And I'll also wait to see if they say anything about the GH6. I don't think they've fully given up on mirrorless yet. I think there's a huge fan following for the GH series of cameras. I love the GH5 myself. So I think I'll wait till the GH, maybe if they come out with something or say something about the GH6. If there's no movement on it, if this is where they're going to go in the future, and they're going to abandon that line, which I really doubt because they have the GH series, they have the G series, they have a lot of micro 4/3 cameras. I don't think they'll just completely abandon that market and that lens market. I don't know. But again, if I were to upgrade to this, I'd probably sell everything I own with regard to the GH, and I'd be able to buy
kids, the wife, the car.
Well, I'd sell the GH4, I'd sell the GH5, I'd sell all the lenses I have for both the cameras, and then I'd probably be able to afford the camera. Well, if I get the S1R with the 24-105 lens and the battery grip, and that'd be it. That'd be all I could afford, and the memory cards. So that's about $5,500 or so like that. So I'm like,
But if you're thinking about the price, since 2000, I've probably bought 7 or 8 digital cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Since 1991, I've bought one film camera, and I've had no need for any other film camera, but I've had a need for upgrade, and like going to the Sony. I'm looking at lenses and body. What, $5,000-$6,000?
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do with your other Sony? What do you do with other Canon? Those lenses. Yeah, you can use the adapters, but it's got to be a warehouse full of unused cameras because of all these new cameras coming out.
Good thing. Good glass holds its price. I've definitely sold my glass and not lost a lot. I've actually bought used glass and sold it more than I bought it for.
Yeah. Wow.
It's if you know how to turn it, and it's you can easily kind of upgrade for less than what would be like leasing a car. I mean, you can buy a new system and sell your old system, and then in a couple of years, a year or two, you sell all that and you're upgrading, and it's only the difference, only a couple $100 or it tops $1,000 to upgrade to the newest and greatest if you're selling the old stuff. There's a way to play with it, win, and make it happen.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning into Glass Flippers. We talk about how we turn profits on lenses.
Lens swap.
Yeah, so I mean, again, I'm not looking to jump at this one. I kind of made a comment on the Petapixel forums. It's like, I'll wait till the S2 and the S2R come out, give the platform a little bit of an option to mature. Like I said, I didn't jump into the GH series until the GH4 came out. But I will say, like, once the GH5 was announced, that was an automatic. Like, I pre-ordered that immediately. Like, no questions. This, though, I don't know.
I think it's a smart idea.
Yeah.
I mean, especially there's a lot of good systems out there. I mean, and it really, each person has their own niche and market. Fuji's an incredible system and has an amazing fan base, and it's in a great camera system. Sony is stellar, and for me, you're not only just buying into a camera, you're buying into the community and the vibe and it's the support. Because if you don't have, like, I have connections with Sony, I can call up Sony Pro Services and talk to them and ask them questions, get a loaner, or if I have a problem with one of my cameras, send it in. It's also the community that you're buying into. Like, I shot Canon for a long time. I never had anybody give me a call, and I was a big Canon shooter. I had all the lenses and all the things, and I never had that personal connection. Sony has really made a community for me where I enjoy being a Sony shooter because I love all the people. They're all very forward with their knowledge and advice and the support and the way Sony also supports its creatives is really, I think the only other person is Fuji that's really kind of supported creatively that same kind of community. But Sony's just really knocked it out for me and made a home for me beyond the camera.
Well, there you go. You're not just buying a camera; you're joining a family.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go and move on to our last topic this evening. Bruce, you mentioned film. Well, of course, the eternal debate of what's better, film or digital, was not decided based on this Petapixel article about this guy who went out to shoot a concert in two different cameras. He shot with the, let's see here, it's a Canon A1 and a Canon EOS 6D, and then he put his photographs side by side. I have my thoughts on what I thought of these pictures, but when we throw it over to Bruce is our, you've done film, you like film. What do you think of these comparison shots here? Do you have any sort of preference, whether it be film or digital? Are you biased, or do you like one over the other?
Well, I shoot with the Leica M6, so it's kind of back to cameras. It's an incredible camera. It's got a rangefinder. You see stuff coming into the viewfinder. The lenses are much flatter than the Sony or the Nikon or the Canon. So when you shoot it at 2.8 and you make a print, it's focused from side to side. You don't get that with the other lenses. I still have my darkroom. I don't believe in converting from color to black and white, except when I'm on the subway and doing my Instagram and messing around with it. So I love the fact that I use it really for my fine art, and I love the fact that the print out of the darkroom is a real print. It's a single print. So I think to get that, you need to shoot film. You need to have a negative. You need to, and it's kind of a love for it more than is this better than the other. It's a tool that I use, and people keep giving me, what do you use an old camera for? Well, the M6 looks like the M3 that I have in 1969. I bought the M6 in 91. They look exactly the same except they're different colors. So there's no difference in the camera. But it's just a tool. It's really, really a tool. And it's a wonderful tool for how I shoot my fine art. But on to shoot, like I do with on my workshops and stuff like that, when I shoot, 4,000 or 5,000 files, to do that in film, it'd go broke, totally broke. And the film, yes, you could do just as well in film in a little different way. but the cost of it is just there's just no way you can justify it. I can justify the black and white because I shoot on a trip. I shoot 10 rolls of black and white. That costs me $100 to process.
Yeah.
And then I can scan it and I can do whatever I want with it. But to come back with what's 36 into 5,000. First of all, to carry all that film and to buy that, and then to scan it all, you'd be a technician more than a photographer. So
as you're resident millennial here, what's film? It's
what they used to do before digital. It's like digital.
Right.
The
ends.
The hell do you do with that?
Have you ever even touched film, Tom?
I think
I've shot.
Here's my
I shot
new purchase
in college. I shot 3 4x5 slides, and that's it.
it was probably a good idea as a photographer.
That's all. It's the only film I've ever touched.
Wow.
I graduated from RIT in 77, and we had 500 darkrooms. 250 of them were color darkrooms with 2 color enlargers in each darkroom. I mean, that if you mine the septic fields of RIT, you'd have the best silver mine you could ever imagine. The amount of silver that went out down that drain. But,
there you go. Any budding entrepreneurs?
I think as a
photographer, it's probably a good idea.
Mistake.
Yeah. As a
I think
photographer,
it's a big mistake, not for the millenniums to actually take a film camera and be stuck with 36 frames, not being able to see it, and go get it processed and learn from what they screwed up, or learn what they discovered in that. I think it would help their digital tremendously.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's
absolutely agree.
And just too bad they don't. It's again, it's like, the Hasselblad. I don't shoot with that all the time, but it's a tool. If I want to do 6-minute exposures in some location that I'm at, I want a 50 megapixel 17 range camera to do that. But I also shoot it in film too. So
it's always a good idea as I think a photographer to go back to your roots and really understand where it all came from and why it's called what it is and why we digital emulated what film was. And but now that we've gotten to that point, I think 35 basically is dead. I don't see any use for it. I can replicate it. I can do anything. When you talk medium format and large format, there are things you can do in a large format that digital just can't touch yet. I mean, it's still it's a time consuming. It slows you down, but things you can do on large format are insane. From the different planes of focus with the lens and just the level of detail you're going to get. So film's not totally dead, but it's sort of dead.
Yeah, I'll never deride anyone who didn't get the opportunity to do film in like college or high school or whatever to learn to learn on film. I was lucky enough to have that opportunity. I developed my film. I did the shaking of the canister and mixing the solutions and taking it into a dark room and using an enlarger and printing on paper, and I had that darkroom experience. I'm so happy I had that darkroom experience and have that sort of perspective. I'll never deride anyone who grew up, only ever doing digital, because that's kind of the way of life. That's how it's going to be, going forward. Unless you're going to like a history museum or you're going to go to, some sort of millennial, not where they want to do film. What is it?
Archiving,
not archiving, but
restoration,
artisanal filmmaking.
Yes.
That's the big buzzword. It's all about the experience. Artisanal filmmaking. Again, I think it's a good experience to have, but I don't long for those days. I don't buy film. I know obviously friends who do still shoot a little bit of film now and then. I'm like, okay, it's gonna end up digital because you're gonna put it online anyways. So what's the big deal? But do you feel like you missed out on any of that? Obviously probably not, but what was your first camera, Tom? Since you've lived in the digital age your entire career.
All right, so I did lie. I think first camera was a
Kodak point and shoot.
Little throwaway disposable. Yep, exactly. That was when I was 5. And then it kind of went away after that for a little bit. But my mom had a Canon Rebel XT.
Okay.
It's the kit. And then I kind of stole it. I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Let's play, you know. And I ran off with it. Both my parents went to RIT, Bruce, and my mom was in the darkroom management course, which is non-existent. So she had a little bit of experience with photography. That's why she got the camera. She wanted to get back into it, and I was like, no, that's fine. I'll take it, and ran off. And and I used Aperture for all the photos, where to put them, all my management. 2005.
Well, I look at it, you know, I do shoot with the Leica for a reason, and because I love the camera and just the way it allows me to shoot. It has nothing to do if I sold all my Leicas, I could buy one M10. I'm not sure I really want to do that just yet, but I think the big mistake that a lot of people have these days is they say, "Oh, film is dead." Oh, you know, why do film? Well, you know, why get a new digital camera? Why go to 8K? Why go to you know, touch screen? Why do any of that crap?
I'll give you a list of reasons.
You know,
I can go all day on listing those reasons.
But they're tools. They're tools. They
certain
allow
tools,
you to create.
certain tools let you build the house faster and get hired quicker and for more money.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is that you can do the same. So don't remove film from the world.
You can't shoot film and deliver a photo across the internet to the West Coast in 30 seconds. That's the difference.
You know, your film goes to 4,000 ASA on average, and.
But this is what I'm saying. When you shoot film, you're not going to know that you're not going to send it over to LA in 30 seconds. That's why you're shooting. You're shooting it to get the negative. You're shooting it to create that print. You're shooting it to put it on a gallery wall because you're using that tool. If I'm going to go shoot something, I'm going to grab my Canon, I'm going to go out and shoot, I'm going to talk it on the wire, and it's gone. I understand that. That's where I'm saying that people say that film is dead because it can't be scanned and sent over in 30 minutes. Well, that's not what I'm talking about. It's still a great tool. It's a great piece of this camera here, this Lander. It's a wonderful little camera. Who knows what's wrong with this lens and the effect it's going to give on the film and all that type of. It's literally just an experiment. A film, you know, that's what film allows you to do. Yes, you can do it with digital, but we got to play too.
Well, as Larry Leventhal in our audience says,
hey, Larry,
film versus digital debate is a waste of time, right? So, Ron, I want you to look at the images that we sent in the show notes. What do you like better? Do you like the film or the digital?
I like some of the film ones better. I like some of the digital ones better. If you were to tell me which one's which, and you mix them up, I wouldn't know. Yeah, some of them I like this one, some of them I like the other.
Yeah, I don't disagree. There are a few of the film ones I do like, but for me, the vast majority, I like the digital better. I think they're smoother, higher quality, and stuff like that, and ultimately. You know, again, when you're shooting digital, you can see what it looks like. You can shoot and get more, and you can keep on shooting till you get that perfect. You know, till it gets perfect. You know, so.
I remember when I shot film, I would do a wedding with 5 rolls of film.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
And it would come out too, right?
Yeah, some of them came out. That's right. Some of them actually came out.
One per roll. Here you go. 5-shot Ron.
That's right. There you go.
They got the kiss shot.
Interesting. Back then, they expected you to shoot.
That's right.
They expected you to shoot only 5 rolls of film. Now they expect you to shoot 2,000 frames.
That's true.
And then they go, "Why didn't you shoot more?"
Yeah.
And then they want all the shots. They don't want, I want everything.
Even the blur. I want everything.
You
That's
guys
right.
have nightmare clients.
Oh, they do that. Yeah.
Oh man, it's every day.
Just send me everything. Don't edit. Just send me everything.
Tom, since you do
anybody
freelance,
asked me for a raw or for a full catalog in years.
Tom, since you do freelance full time, are you like pulled into like the weddings and portraits and all the other stuff, or do you do news full time?
Right now I'm just doing news full time. It's just been so nuts.
That's good.
I'll try to get into some maybe corporate headshots, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If there's some holes to fill in the schedule, but also branch out, do a little bit of sports too. It's been mostly editorial based journalism stuff here in town. It's been really good to me, and I know it's not like that everywhere. So taking it one week at a time, and we'll see what happens.
Indeed. All right, well, we're nearing the end of our show, so we always like to give everybody a chance to plug whatever they want to plug. We'll throw it to you, Bruce, first. I can't imagine what you're going to plug, but...
Nepal and Bhutan.
That's
Nice.
right.
But also always Cuba. Cuba's an incredible place.
Cuba, you will always be your first love.
Yeah, well, Bhutan, I've been in Bhutan and Nepal, an amazing place. But I also do medical missions, so I hook up different photographers to come along my medical missions. If you want a change of life, talk to me, call me up about that. You just come back a completely different person. Workshops are great, and it's what you put into it, you get out of it. And I also just putting together right now 2 private tours too. So specifically, it doesn't take a big group. It can take one person. It can take a family. So very, very catered.
All right. Well,
Camera
the Around the Lens family can come out to Camera Odyssey.
Yeah.
Someday.
And also, I'm on the board of APA, along with our new head director, Travis. And we always love, if you want to talk photography, if you want to live photography, if you want to get involved in photography, APA is a wonderful, wonderful thing. We're already starting to get, right now we've got 2 creative directors on our board, which is amazing because you can sit right there and talk to a creative director where you can't get in their building, you can't get to them on their phone. But as an APA member, you can literally sit next to them and talk to them. So we're really expanding the photography community.
Nice.
So give Jack Travis a call, apany.com.
There you go. Travis, he took his plug away from you.
And shoot film. No.
Tom, what would you like to direct people towards?
For all things freelance, a lot of what they taught us in school is to have a leave behind, have a promo, how to promote yourself in your freelancing. And I've been checking out the page of Rob Haggart's page. It's at A Photo Editor, and he puts up mail from people who send in their promos and leave behinds and cards, and it's an awesome way to see what everybody's doing and how to, make sure that you leave something memorable behind after a portfolio review or, a networking event of any kind. And props to Rob for keeping that page running a lot and, kind of keeping everybody up to par and how you, what's a great way to make a great impression.
All right.
Awesome tip. Very awesome.
Ron? Eagle News? In the Philippines?
Yes. Well, I will say one thing here. We speak about Hawaii, and we got to get out of here, of course. But I would like to just inform the world that not only is Hawaii home to Aquaman, but also the next president of the United States.
Ron Hamilton?
Tulsi Gabbard. I expect she'll go far.
Is she officially in the running?
Yeah, she announced her candidacy last weekend. Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised I haven't heard about it.
Yeah.
I'm keeping my eyes peeled for you.
Her and that
Tom,
Cortez lady.
Are you following a lot of the people going for the candidates, for running? They make you photograph a lot of those guys.
Yeah, soon. I think I don't know. I'm trying to break out of DC for a little bit, maybe go to Iowa, and catch a lot of the candidates when they announce they'll open up an exploratory committee. So they'll branch out to Iowa, or they'll have kickoff events, so to speak. Kind of hard when you're freelancing to kind of map that out, because one day they just say I'm running, and things kind of fall into place, and maybe not in the way you'd like. So anybody around here, the senators that are running, we're definitely going to be tracking as much as we can locally as possible.
I think you hope to get on the ground floor of somebody running, so that when they become president, you'll be like, "Hey, I followed your campaign. How about you make me the official White House photographer?" Huh?
Yeah. I mean, I think right now that'd be really cool. I'd like to stick to journalism. If you do that, it's kind of hard to go back into the editorial world.
Right. But then you get to write books and just the next president with your photographs.
Well, I'll leave that to suicide. But
he did all right with it. He did okay.
Yeah.
No comment.
Indeed, of course.
It'll definitely pick up for sure.
Indeed.
Awesome.
All right, Travis.
Yeah, well, you know what? If you want to continue talking about cameras or anything we discussed on the show, reach out to us. You can reach me on my social media at TWKEYES on Instagram, or Travis W. Keys or Travis Keys on Facebook. Both of them are me. And as Bruce said, I'm the new chairman of APA, and we're an organization that was founded by photographers for photographers. And it's an amazing, amazing group that really kind of facilitates and aids and educates photographers and adds a community for people, which I'm all about community, as I talked about with Sony. And that's the same thing with APA. We're a community that really looks after each other and networks and helps one another. And always turn into Around the Lens, Mondays at 9.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Travis, how much does it cost to become a member of APA, just out of curiosity? And are there discounts for students?
Yes, we have a student membership, which is $50 a year, and then we go up in price to about $50 a year for our pro and leader a month. But you can do $350 a year, or you can pay monthly. There's different memberships and different pricing structures, and we just launched Hire a Pro, which is an APA Pro. So we have a board that goes out to certain creative directors and people in the industry, and where they can look and find us as artists and photographers, and it's a great tool, and we have lots of tools like that as being a member of APA.
Great. All right, before I sign off, I do want to ask you, Tom, how many times did you go to the dinosaurs while you were going to school?
Say again?
Dinosaurs. You had to go to dinosaurs, right? When you were in Rochester?
Dinosaur Barbecue.
Yeah!
Dinosaur Barbecue. Yeah, of course. Yeah, great. Yeah. Best barbecue around, hands down. Every time.
I'll take you to a couple of good ones.
Did you get a chance Did you go to Syracuse much when you were in Rochester?
I guess say again. I lost your signal there.
Did you go to Syracuse much when you were in Rochester?
Syracuse is quite a ways.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, it's a little on the more orange side of things. Not too far. Yeah, I was there occasionally because whenever our lacrosse team, we would pretty much get snowed out every home game. So every home game would become the Carrier Dome.
Yeah.
And so it's plenty of time up there. And
yeah.
But yeah. I got family down in Portland, so I'm always around there.
Cool. Yeah, I'm a Syracuse alum myself, and so I have a small place in my heart for Rochester. We went up to visit, so it's a nice place. Anyways,
that's good. We love it over there at Syracuse. So good guys, for sure.
Awesome. All right, well, that's been our show for this week. Thank you all for tuning in to episode 160 of Around the Lens. For Tom and Bruce, and also for Travis, and also Ron. I am David J. Murphy. This has been Around the Lens, and we are out.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning into Around the Lens.
Tom, what was that
I hope you'll join us next
page
week.
you were talking about with
the
the
aroundthelens.com for show notes from tonight's episode, as well as links to our Patreon, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. We're also always looking for new and exciting guests to feature on each show. So if you know somebody who might be interested, let them know.